Hello, my name is Tracy Rogers and this is On the Couch, a weekly video series where we talk to mental health professionals about a range of issues that impact our well-being. Today I have on the couch with me Onika Henry, who's a sexologist based in Tobago but does work in Trinidad. And today we're talking about parents and sexuality. And we have had a lot of information in the media recently around sexuality, and we've always had issues about sexuality. And sometimes I find it funny for people who don't talk about sexuality. We talk about sexuality a lot.
All the time.
A lot. But today we want to talk about it specifically from a parenting standpoint. And we want to talk about why it is important for parents to talk to their children about sex and sexuality.
So sexologists believe generally that parents are the most important and usually supposed to be the first sex educators for their children. They are laying the foundation. They are putting in the values. They are making their children feel comfortable in their own skin, accepting of their bodies, teaching them their boundaries, etc. But parents need resources and support.
Yes.
Because they have not gone through any kind of formal training. They don't know what to expect at every age and stage, so that they know, okay, I need to be prepared for this. They need to know, okay, this is appropriate for this age, and if they see anything that's happening that shouldn't be happening, they need to think, what has my child been exposed to? What do I need to address?
Yes.
So
we really want parents to be the experts on sex.
Yes.
Because trust me, if you're not the expert of sex, some other 10-year-old or 14-year-old or 17-year-old on the corner is going to be the expert.
Exactly.
But when you talk, the first thing that comes to my mind is that I need to be comfortable talking about sex and sexuality. Because if I am not comfortable talking about it, how am I even going to begin?
Exactly. And your children are going to pick up on that. And if they think, well, I can't go to mommy or I can't go to daddy, they're going to get their information elsewhere. And elsewhere may not be appropriate for them, elsewhere may not have the values that you want to impart, elsewhere may not be accurate. And so you can have a lot of conflict coming out of that, meaning where your children are taking a particular path when it comes to sex and sexuality that you would not wish for them.
And you also have to be careful about the values you do communicate by not wanting to communicate about sex. So daddy or mommy tell me about sex, don't do it, go in bed. So automatically you communicate shame.
Yes.
You communicate this is something to be hidden. You tell your child, don't talk about this. So it doesn't mean that they're not going to have thoughts about it.
Exactly.
But you're telling them, I am not the one.
Exactly.
And you're telling them it's taboo, you're telling them it's wrong. And we know that those messages then lead to adults who have issues talking and dealing with sex and sexuality.
Exactly.
And that leads to discordant or disruptive relationships in couples. That leads to people not understanding consent.
Exactly. And not communicating your needs, not communicating your wants, not being able to do so. You don't even know how,
So when you are socializing your children about sexuality is really to think about how are you contributing to this person's lifelong journey.
And you're also going to keep in mind that boys and girls in the wider society and through the media are getting different messages.
Yes.
So you as a parent, you need to make sure that you are telling your boys and your girls the same thing when it comes to values.
Let's talk about that, Onika. So we don't be telling our boys and girls, we don't be sending them the same messages, we send them different messages.
We send them different messages, and that, of course, is going to double standards.
Right.
Really big problem. So, for example, boys tend to have, and I get this complaint from the girls, and in sessions that I do, boys tend to have a little bit more freedom to do things that they want to do. They're not reprimanded as much as girls. And so what you have are boys growing up thinking that they are entitled to this kind of freedom, and women and girls need to be taken care of, and they're not entitled to that kind of freedom. You're not supposed to do that. And so you're going to have that conflict within relationships of what I can do, where I can go as a girl, as opposed to what I can do and where I can go as a boy. We tend to let boys get away with more. And so therefore boys tend to go through and cope with mistakes a lot better than girls.
Wow.
Girls tend to be really self-critical. They don't recover as well from mistakes.
I'm saying wow because I'm thinking about that now in relation to sexuality. About how a boy might be socialized to be able to let something go, and we socialize girls to really ruminate and keep on it. And then you know, so we know that old song, your body's here with me, but your mind.
Yes.
Some other place,
Yes.
because
Yes.
there's so much shame and guilt that you're working through.
Exactly.
So it's important for parents to get resources. It's important for them to send very clear messages.
And do
about-
not continue the gender stereotypes that are unhelpful for girls and boys.
Yes.
Right?
Which, like,
Boys are allowed to have multiple partners. They're supposed to. That's a macho thing to do. And girls are supposed to, wait until they're married.
we're all waiting. We are all waiting, and we're all multiplying.
And then you're kind of wondering, well, okay, if the boys are allowed to experiment before they get married, who
are
are
they
they
doing it
experiment with?
So we don't think about those girls being somebody else's little girl as well. So, I mean, and it's really about thinking about all children as our children.
Yes.
So if we think about all children as our children, saying like, when I let go my cock tie up your hand, is that it?
That's one of them.
Become obsolete, because although that girl is not my daughter, she is my child. She's sharing this space and contributing and operating in the society. So really encouraging people to think wider than this.
And think community, think that we're all connected, in one way or the other. And one more point. Girls, of course, the girls and boys are under different types of social pressures and influences when it comes to sex and sexuality. And leading off from that very same point. So for example, boys are told that they're always supposed to be ready for sex.
Yes.
They're macho. That's part of being masculine. So what that may lead our young boys to do is that they jump into this thing unprepared, no information, and therefore are unable to cope when things go wrong. Because they're always supposed to be ready. So them and saying no, them and backing down.
Yes.
And then they're going to this thing and have no clue what they're doing. Have no clue how to keep themselves or their partner safe. They're not even taught that you're supposed to think about your partner as well and keep your partner safe.
Yes.
That's not part of the conversation.
Yes.
And so that's the kind of social pressures they may be under. Girls, on the other hand, you are supposed to have a particular kind of reputation.
Yes.
At the same time, you are under pressure from the boys to have sex. How are you balancing that? So you end up having sex with the young man because you want to please him.
Yes.
Or you also thinking, but my peers are also having sex, and this is how you keep the man. So I need to keep the man in this way.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm supposed to have a particular reputation.
Yes.
And behave a particular way.
Yes.
Very confusing.
And we haven't even touched on, so those are some of the heteronormative practices. We haven't even touched on what are some of the issues going around same-sex attraction.
We don't even want to talk about that.
We don't even want to talk about that.
We don't even want to recognize.
Yeah. So you, the parent, you have to be the expert. And that's a take-home message we want to leave you with.
Yes.
We're not here to talk to you about right sexuality, wrong sexuality, and morality. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, as parents, you want to take ownership of socializing your children.
Yes.
We're saying, as parents, you want to understand whether you have a boy or a girl, you are contributing to a society, and you're contributing to values and norms.
Yes.
And you're contributing to a sexual culture.
Yes.
And we want you to be cognizant about that.
Yes.
And we understand that we've put this very complicated issue into about 6.5 minutes. We know it's way more complex than that. So, Onika, we both do work talking to parents and talking to young people about sexuality. So if you're interested in having guidance around how to have the discussion, if you're interested into opening up your young people to have healthy, respectful, responsible conversations about sexuality and sexual health, we are definitely up for that challenge.
Yes.
So
yes,
reach out to us. You're seeing Onika's information on the screen, and you're also, I could be contacted through Wholeness and Wellness Counseling Center, and we look forward and hope that we will all work towards building a positive sexual culture, one that's based on respect and responsibility.
Correct.
Thank you so much for joining us. Take care.